this amazing interview that Ronda Rousey did recently in Australia, because she's supposed to be fighting, she is fighting in a couple weeks in Australia, and it's the biggest UFC event ever, headlined by a woman, okay? 70,000 seats in Australia. And this woman does this interview, or does this, questions her, this media scrum, and she says, how do you feel? We're having an issue here in Australia with equality of pay for women's football. How do you feel about equality of pay in the UFC? And this is it's such a stupid question, because she makes more money than anyone in the sport. Mm-hmm. She's the #1 earner in the UFC. And she goes, look, I get paid the most out of anyone in the UFC, and I'm a woman. And I don't get paid that much because Dana and Lorenzo, the owners of the company, wanted to do something nice for the ladies. She's like, I get paid the most because I put the most asses in the seats, and more people want to come to see me because I'm the best. You know, and when she said that, everybody cheered, and they were booing when this lady had this question. But her question's preposterous.
Yeah,
it's a ridiculous question, because you're talking to the #1 earner in the sport who happens to have a vagina.
Right.
You know, she got there through the quality of her work and the amount of eyes that she attracts because of that work. It's that simple. It's that simple. That what she's been able to do, the outlier status that she has, being this beautiful woman who kicks people's asses, being unusual, it generates a significant amount of money. So much money that she makes more money than anybody else. So this idea that, like, you're supposed to pay women the same amount that you pay men, well, what if only half the people go to see the women? Do you still have to pay them the same amount? Well, that's a shitty business model, because then you're not going to make as much money.
Yeah, that's a tough way to. I mean, it's a tough way to look at it. It's a tough concept to unpack for a lot of people, I feel like.
I don't know why. I mean, they think that, you know, it's supposed to be one for you and one for me. No, it's a competition.
Right.
When you get out into the marketplace.
I think the example that resonated best with me was the Jennifer Lawrence thing, where she, did you read about that? Where there's the huge, she wrote a big open letter about how she didn't get paid as much as Bradley Cooper did during the American Hustle movie.
Right.
And for a whole bunch of reasons. And okay, that's fair. Like I am okay. I want to hear the argument, right? But the argument that I heard was incomplete, right? How about the number of lines both of them spoke in the movie, right? How about the number of minutes both of them spent on screen in the movie? How about the number of days she even went to work compared to the number of days he went to work to be on set and to do filming, right? And so when you look at that quantitatively, you go, well, why would you be paid the same amount as him for a fourth or fifth lead role in that movie, right?
Well, you look at it quantitatively, she actually got paid more per minute than he did.
Sure, there you go. And then what you don't hear her talking about, of course, and I don't like this argument either, because there's no reason that, like, the other side needs to lose for one side to win. It shouldn't be about that. But of course, then you look at, like, the new movie that she's in, where she's getting paid more than any of her male co-stars, and you don't talk about that, right? And so it's almost like this, we get angry and outraged about things when they're convenient to be angry and outraged about, and we don't call it out on the bullshit when it's the double standard, when it's on the other side of that curve.
Well, I give her a pass because the whole world saw her asshole and it wasn't her idea. You know, I mean, I think she's probably emotionally wrecked because of that, and there's also probably a lot of people in her ear telling her she got fucked over, and agents and managers. And
a lot of people
jazz.
Say, hey, you could go out and you can talk about this. This is the right time to talk about this, right?
Yes.
And again, that's smart people who have figured out how to manipulate the masses' emotions into getting profit, into getting eyeballs, into getting ratings, into getting good things for them. And I'm always against that.
Well, the argument is interesting. You know, the argument is very interesting. Like, who should be getting paid what, and why should you be getting paid more? But the reality is, you're going to have a really hard time getting sympathetic voices, or sympathetic ears, rather, when you're making millions of dollars. Like, oh, True. I'm only making $2 million while he's making $4 or whatever the fuck it was. Boy, cry me a river. Yeah. You're making millions of dollars and you want people to feel bad? Like, that's kind of ridiculous. And if you look at it in terms of the number of, like you said, the number of hours that she was on screen, but who knows? Who knows why she said that? Who knows? I mean, she gotten shit on by this reporter once because she was at some award show and she was drunk, and he wrote something about it, and she had some response, to why she did it, and that fuck this guy, and like you're really worried about me because I got drunk at an award show. Like fuck off. And she's right,
Exactly.
100% right
100%.
there. And would she have gotten that grief if she was a man? I say no. If fucking fill in the blank, if Brad Pitt had a couple of drinks at some award show and he was liquored up and laughing and being ridiculous, he could say, hey, I was just fucked up at that award show and I had a good time, but whoops, what did I say? And no one's going to say, boy, I'm really worried about Brad Pitt.
So no one's saying that inequality doesn't exist. It definitely exists. And as long as we're having pragmatic conversations about it and we're staring it in the face, because it is an ugly issue, it's a scary issue, but as long as we're not taking teams and rattling pom-poms, and as long as we're not just cutting off the lines and making boundaries, as long as we're constantly having that conversation and we're not looking for someone else to get hurt in the process of having that conversation, then as long as we're still talking about it, we're going to be making progress.
I think what you just said is so important. As long as you don't want other people to get hurt.
Yeah.
I think that's a really important point of it. That you don't want to hurt the other people. You don't want to hurt Team Dick in order to prop up Team Vagina.
Yeah, don't make me
ridiculous.
scared. Don't make me scared to
Exactly.
participate. Like after that whole Donald Sterling thing with me, I absolutely was scared for like months. Like maybe I shouldn't tweet anymore. But then of course I came back to my senses and I thought that's ridiculous. I shouldn't feel that way. I shouldn't be pushing away from the table because some bad shit happened to me. That made me want to talk about things even more. I mean this and wanting to make people learn that that's not the way you get your way, or that's not the way that you make a point, is by bringing someone else down.